2016. First item on the agenda this evening is 145 Ansonia Road, application for residential site development of property. Are you here for that?
Yes.
If you want to just come on in, up and just sign in. Thanks. You could have a seat. So. You can have a seat and be comfortable. So if you want to tell us a little bit about what you want to do, and we saw the site plan and very well done site plan. So
thank you. It wasn't me. It was my engineer.
yeah, well, okay. Well, you could take credit for it. You paid for it. Then, so.
That's true.
Terry, I think the only challenging thing about this looks like the slopes. What do you think? You know, the plan was really well done. I like the galleries, you know, as far as the retention systems on the driveway to catch the runoff and that. What's your thinking? My initial reaction was we'll just have Bob do a quick look at this and then just continue it to next month, or do you have other thoughts? Or
well, I do think that Bob should review it because it's good medicine for us all. And of course, slopes are the only issue on the lot. I mean, you know, except that, you know, we have a long driveway, and to take care of that driveway, you know, you're installing expensive features. I think that it is, you know, I mean, it's certainly not any work in a wetland. It's susceptible to delegation, but I think it's probably too soon to do that because Bob hasn't spoken yet.
Okay. Just so you understand what we're going back and forth on is Bob. The Bob we're referring to is Bob Criscola, who's our consulting engineer. Again, like the plan, I think is very good, but that's from a lay standpoint. From engineering standpoint, we typically, on more complicated matters, have our engineer look at it just to review the other engineer's work. What that'll do is just continue the matter to next month. He'll take a look at it within the next few weeks, get back to your engineer with whatever comments he may have on the plans, and then the two of them can talk about what the resolution is if there are any issues. He may very well come back and say everything looks fine, but only because of the topography, be more comfortable doing it that way.
Absolutely.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks. I agree with you.
I know that you and I have talked about this lot. Is this the footprint of the house with some?
Yes.
This is exactly what you want to build.
Yes.
And so, does it not include a deck?
No, patio.
Okay. And the garage gets very close to, not to wetlands, but to that zoning setback. You believe that there's adequate area to get around to the back of the house to maintain the house?
I believe so.
Okay.
The idea around, from the garage going around, is to put, again, stone. Blue stone of some sort, and just make it the way around.
So you're creating a grade, you're changing the grade from what is there, flattening it out, and making, you know, a steeper grade right behind the house.
Yes.
So I guess, you know, how would you get to the back of the house if you had to get machinery or something like that there?
With stairs. So the way I anticipate, just say digging the foundation, would be coming in from the lower side and start digging in. And because on the lower side it's basically exposed, so there's a small retaining wall in front. There's a retaining wall to be able to. So, to my understanding, there's a little bit of cutting the grade in back of the house, and there's filling in front.
So my question was actually after the house was completed,
Mm-hmm.
and should you wish to should there be a need to do anything at the back of the house, how could you get to it
I would
with these
say,
proposed grades?
well, it's either most likely around, or again, to the back of the house. You can go through the driveway before you get to the circle.
Mm-hmm.
We can go off there, but as there's a buried propane tank there as well.
Right.
That should be pretty much easily accessible for that truck to just pull their line.
So around the garage, I guess, is probably the right answer, because what we would discourage you from doing is going over your septic system or towards the wetlands to get to the back of the house. And I think probably the biggest issue that you guys may want to think about is that here we have a long driveway, and we typically placard this sort of situation. You may want to give it to some thought of how often you want them. You know, you may want to consider that the risk is less in the driveway than towards the house. If you recall, over time, we have required stone walls once. I think we got away with that. On subdivisions, we went to iridescent yellow fiberglass posts, which I don't think anybody likes, because it kind of wrecks with the natural beauty of the place. And by the way, they don't apparently perform very well with sunlight resistant, because I noticed I still see a lot of them around, and they're not in pristine shape. So I think there's just some UV problems with those fiberglass things. And more recently, we've been going to we have a metal sign, screen printed, of a small size that is sometimes near a structure where the wetlands are right near a structure. They're 50 feet apart. Sometimes they're further apart. And then on what to mount them is another issue. So those are things that you can reflect upon and give us some guidance.
All right, does anyone else have any questions or comments or issues to talk about now? Okay, then what we'll do is we'll send the package over to our engineer. He'll hopefully have comments back to your engineer in a couple weeks, and then we'll just continue this till next month, and then we'll dispose of it at that point.
Okay.
Okay.
We do encourage your engineer to speak with our engineers so that perhaps next month there are no outstanding issues. It would be good.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier and cheaper for you not to have him have to come here, or him or her have to come here. So that if our engineer and yours work it out over the phone, and then there's a consensus on that, it's in everybody's benefit. So.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right, thanks. Have a
You
good
mind
night.
if I stay?
Pardon me?
You mind if I stay?
Oh, no, you're welcome to stay. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer, though. We don't have too much else left to do, so. Okay. Next item on the agenda is 91 Forest Glen Drive. If you read, just from the memo that Chris had put together, the applicant got the application fee, et cetera, in recently, so therefore Bob's comments got to the applicant's engineer, and they didn't have time to address it. Plus, they're waiting on some other input. So therefore, they asked that the matter be continued until next month. So
I do believe that still septic testing.
yes, yeah, and that. So therefore, that will also be continued. Next item on the agenda is 10 Zack Hill Road, the request for bond release. Terry, do you want to give us your thoughts on that?
Sure. I thought we'd given you a memo. If not, I've certainly inspected this, I guess, on another matter. As you recall, this is a project of 7 or 8 years ago. The house is complete. The area near the wetlands is well established. There are no problems. We've recently issued the certificate of occupancy for the first time. The building has not been occupied. I don't know that it is even now. But we released the bond, a portion of the bond some time ago. It was held jointly by both Town Planning and Zoning Commission and this agency. And I certainly recommend that we release it in its entirety, because I think it's a nice project, well executed.
All right, any questions? Okay, Dave Bixler moved to release the bond, or a second? Jack seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Josh is seated for, Dave Speranzini, so, sorry about that. Yeah, you know, you're here. Okay, so that's approved, 5-0. Enforcement officer report. Terry, anything going on?
Sure, there's a few things this year, or this month. I've taken these two photographs on Center Road, where this driveway that was in front of you the other time, as far as an enforcement thing, we've had a good result.
Oh, yeah.
They moved the driveway further away from this thing. They paved both portions of it, and they planted about 5 bushes in an area. It's here. I appreciate the level of cooperation that we've had by all parties, and I think it's a very good thing to get. And I'd like to extinguish this action, if with your permission. Based on the cooperation it's been satisfying and responsible.
Yeah, it looks like a good result as far as the location of the driveway and taking back that corner. So, good work, Terry. Thanks.
And to be fair to the property owner, his level of cooperation, we should extinguish this.
Sure.
In a manner of writing. And here we have the Crestview drainage work. That's a memo that I've written to our administrative offices, Tony Genovese, about money. And there are larger photographs of the completed drainage work.
Okay, so they brought the dredge material up along the side like they planned there.
The silt fence is in, it's been seeded.
Yeah.
Both Bob Criscolo and I walked the site. We think that they did a nice job. And that's pretty big news.
Yeah. Did Grieger do it for them?
Yes.
And were they able to get far enough out?
Apparently they brought in this 60-foot reach track hoe that was, and it was there only one day, and it had quite a reach on it.
Yeah, and drought was made to order for that situation.
And it's perfect time to do pond work.
Good.
So,
right. And George is happy.
I won't be able to
moving along.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it was a good result for
I think it was a good
all
result.
the efforts.
Yeah.
Good.
Neat.
All right. Any other problems or accomplishments?
Motion about the cease and desist.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, but should we do formal action to do something on the
Center Road?
Yeah, on Center
Well,
Road.
I think that's a good point. You did sustain the order
They modified it, yeah.
and we can now, based on demonstrated cooperation and actual results, take a vote and close the matter, I suppose.
Okay. All right, then, do we have a motion to close the cease and desist action on the Center Road property?
So moved.
David Bixler moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Barry seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So that matter is closed and
Thank you.
successfully closed it. Should thank, both the property owner and Warren for getting this done and cooperating, so.
I intend to do so.
Good, okay. All right, anything else pending? The other Seymour Road property, anything going on with that, or,
I have no news about that. There's no, since we put the electrical trench in and the electrical service to the building, there's been no further building permit activity. He renewed his building permit, so he's working inside the house. I've received lots of reports about what's going on there on a zoning matter. Not witnessed it myself. I don't know if it's any better or not. In terms of any threats to any wetlands,
Yeah, it's
don't know.
status quo, okay.
But, the day is young,
Mhm.
so who knows?
Okay. All right. No need for site visits. Enforcement report. Okay, approval of minutes. Special meeting of September 7th, 2016. Have those minutes in your package.
I would move to approve those as submitted.
Okay. We have a second? Jack seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay, 5-0. Those are approved. Then we have the site inspection minutes of September 17th. I didn't see anything wrong with those.
I would move to approve as submitted.
Okay, Dave Bixler moved. We have a second. Josh seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Votes, even though I wasn't there. And then the final thing is September 21, 2016. Again, I think nice job on those minutes too.
I move to approve as submitted.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second
Barry seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay, 5-0 approved with no changes. Anybody have anything else we need to talk about? No? All right then, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Josh seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? We're done. Wow, 8:46.